Talk to me about, in a brief interview clip, what's the secret of doing verse on a stage?
I think the secret of doing verse is to see the image, because I don't think our brains really, language or words aren't really their first language. Image is their first language. So before we knew how to say things, we saw things. And when poets write, they write mostly from what they see, from image to image. So if you know what Shakespeare, for example, is seeing as he writes it down, oh, for a muse of fire, what does that look like? What does a muse of fire look like that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention? What does it look like? What did he have to see in order for those words to come out of his pen? Then I think that going from image to image and then making sure that you move toward the end of the thought is what's important, because if you see all those images, it's kind of easy to sort of stop and pick the daisies along the way, and then all you'll get is image, 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 and you won't get the full line of the thought. So I guess balancing those two things would be the secret.
And is there a difference between performing a contemporary prose play and a Shakespearean verse play?
Yeah, there's a difference. Different concerns in Shakespeare. The language is the concern. So and how the character relates to another character is in terms of language. So somebody will say something. Claudius will say, "But now my cousin Hamlet and my son, why are you so sad?" And Hamlet picks up his little line and says, "My lord, no, a little more than kin and less than kind. I'm too much in the sun." So he listens to the one thing and picks it up. That happens less in a modern play. People respond to each other's emotions more than to their language and their image. So, but it's always helpful. It's always, because that's what plays are. Plays are words. So what we get is the text with the words on it. So finding out how people relate to each other through language is kind of the first step.
And is there a technical note you could give another actor who has never done verse on a stage or Shakespeare on the stage? What would be the main thing that you would tell an actor very first time who's terrified of doing it?
I'd say don't say anything unless you know exactly what you're saying and why you're saying it and why you have to use those words as opposed to saying it another way. Why do I have to use an image? Why do I have to use that assonance or that alliteration or that rhyme in a play that rhymes? Why the verse doesn't just, let's say in A Midsummer Night's Dream, it doesn't just start into rhyme for no reason. Somebody uses a rhyme and picks it up and takes it and throws it back at the other person. So I'd say, when language heightens, which means that it is using imagery, metaphor, simile, it rhymes, it uses assonance, it uses alliteration. When it heightens, and all Shakespeare isn't heightened, there's a lot of Shakespeare that's not particularly heightened at all. But when it does heighten, there's a reason, because the character needs those images, those sounds to get what he wants from the other character.
Fantastic. Great.